You find out you're not invited to your cousin's wedding in the ugliest way possible by accident. It's 11:47 p.m. when your phone buzzes. You glance down, expecting another boring reminder from work, but instead, you see the family group chat. Make sure the Airbnb is ready. Don't tell Ava she's not coming, it'll just be drama. You freeze. That's your name. And the Airbnb they're talking about? That's your apartment. You scroll up. More messages flood your screen like knives. Mom, I told her not to make everything about herself. Aunt Linda, yeah. She cried last time someone else got engaged. She'll ruin the pictures. Cousin Elise, the bride. Let's just say she's traveling. Nobody will question it. Mom again. Perfect. We can still use her place for the bridesmaids. It's closer to the venue. Then a laughing emoji. Then silence. For a full minute, you can't breathe. You reread each line, hoping you misunderstood. But no, every word burns the same. They didn't just uninvite you, they replaced you. They turned your home into a rental. You stand in the middle of your living room, phone shaking in your hand. The same living room you scrubbed clean last week. The same one that still smells faintly of your grandmother's candle wax. And suddenly, it feels like someone else's place, not yours anymore. You check the time again. Midnight. Through the thin apartment walls, you hear muffled laughter. You recognize that voice, it's your mother's. The sound crawls under your skin like something rotten coming back to life. You step into the hallway. Room 214. The one you helped your mom rent for the weekend is full of noise, clinking glasses, giggles. You move closer. The door isn't fully shut. You hear your cousin's voice. I just don't want her there, okay? She makes everything heavy, like she's the main character of a tragedy. Your mother chuckles. Let her think she's busy that weekend. She's always working on herself anyway. And then, the final blow. We'll need her spare key. Your heart slams against your ribs. You reach for the doorknob, ready to storm in, to shout, to demand an explanation, but you stop yourself. You can almost see their faces. The forced sympathy, the little sighs, the fake concern. Oh, you're overreacting again, Ava. That's what they always say. They use that word dramatic as if it's poison. As if emotion is a disease you caught as a child and never cured. So, you turn around. You walk back to your apartment in silence. The key feels heavier than it did before. Inside, your phone buzzes again, a new file from the shared family drive. Family meeting. Final decisions. You click play. Static. Forks clinking. And then your mother's voice. Calm, measured, cruel. She'll never say no if I ask sweetly. She always folds. Aunt Linda, then it's settled. We'll pick up the dresses Friday and go straight to her place. She won't even notice if we leave it tidy. The groom chuckles. I hope she doesn't show up uninvited. That would be awkward. Your mother laughs softly. Oh, she knows her place. You pause the recording. Your place. It's your apartment, your lease, your name on the deed. And yet, somehow, they've decided it belongs to them. You walk to the window, stare at the night skyline reflected in the glass. You don't see yourself, only the faint echo of a woman they've made you believe you are. Too emotional, too sensitive, too much. But something in you breaks differently this time. Not into tears, into resolve. You pull out your phone. Step 1. Screenshot the messages. Step 2. Save the recording. Step 3. Change the locks. The smart lock on your door blinks blue when you reset the passcode. You erase the old one your mother knows. You create a new 6-digit code that's yours alone. No birthdays, no anniversaries, no sentimental numbers. Just random digits. Cold, anonymous, final. The kind of code that closes one chapter and seals it shut. Outside, you hear footsteps. Someone's at your door. You freeze. Then knock, knock. A woman's voice. Hey, Ava. It's Elise. I left my makeup bag in your place after the last brunch. Mind if I grab it? You stare at the door. You remember that brunch. She didn't even come inside that day. She lied. You answer, voice steady. Not a good time, Elise. She hesitates. Mom said you wouldn't mind. You cut her off. Tell Mom the code changed. A pause. Then the sound of retreating heels. You slide down the door until your back hits the floor. Your heart's still racing, but you're not afraid anymore. You're angry and it feels cleaner than grief. You check your phone one last time before bed. New text from Mom. Don't take things personally, we're family. You're overreacting again. You reply with a single word. Understood. But you don't mean it. Not this time. Because in the corner of your mind, a thought is forming a dangerous, brilliant thought. If they think you're dramatic, maybe it's time to give them a show. You plug your phone in, open a new folder labeled Evidence, and drag everything inside. Screenshots, voice memos, timestamps. Tomorrow, they'll wake up thinking they've silenced you. Tomorrow, they'll find out you've been listening all along. You look at the cracked cactus on your windowsill, its tiny arms bent, dirt spilling from the pot. You kneel, fix it gently, press the soil back in. You'll live, you whisper. It's not clear if you're talking to the cactus or to yourself. Then, a smile creeps up, small, sharp, dangerous. Because if there's one thing your family always underestimated, it's this. You might bend, but you don't break. And that's exactly what makes you unstoppable. Morning light leaks through your blinds like an unwanted guest. You wake up in the same apartment, but it already feels different, heavier, colder, like it's holding its breath with you. Yesterday you were the family embarrassment. Today you're the threat they don't see coming. You scroll through your phone. No apologies, no explanations. Just a new text from your mother. We'll need your spare keys this afternoon. Elise misplaced hers. Be reasonable, Ava. You almost laugh. Reasonable. That's what they call it when you let them walk over you without bleeding too loud. You ignore the text. You make coffee instead. The bitterness fits your mood perfectly. On the table, your evidence folder glows on the laptop screen. Chat screenshots, audio files, and one image that hurts most, the seating chart where your name was deleted like you never existed. You click it open again. Study the blank space where you used to belong. Outside, a car horn blares. It's Friday, the day they said they'd borrow your place for the bridal party. You glance at the clock. 9:42 a.m. You have less than 2 hours before they show up smiling with their fake politeness and suitcases full of entitlement. You take a deep breath and get to work. You start by changing the Wi-Fi password. Then, you contact building security. Hi, this is Ava Bennett in 5C. No guests are authorized to use my apartment this weekend. If anyone tries, please call me immediately. Your voice doesn't even shake. Then, something wild crosses your mind. You open the SmartLock app and enable video logs. If they try to get in, you'll see everything. The timestamp, the faces, the proof. For the first time, you're not just reacting, you're preparing. You glance around your apartment, seeing it differently now, like a battlefield. The couch where you once sat crying after every argument. The wall where you pinned photos of people who called you family. The same people who now plan to drink champagne in your living room without even inviting you. At 10:36 a.m., there's a knock on the door. You don't move. Another knock, louder. Ava? It's Mom. Open up, sweetheart, let's talk. You stay silent, phone recording. Her tone shifts. Don't be childish. Elise needs to drop off the bridesmaid dresses. You can't just lock your family out. You look at the screen camera feed on your door. 3 faces. Your mother, Aunt Linda, and your cousin Elise, holding garment bags like trophies. You watch without opening. Their muffled conversation seeps through the wood. She's being ridiculous, Aunt Linda mutters. Elise rolls her eyes. Told you she'd make this dramatic. Your mother sighs. Give it time. She'll cave. She always does. But this time, you don't cave. You listen. You learn. When they finally leave, you step out quietly, pick up the note they slid under your door. It says, "Don't ruin the weekend for everyone." No signature, just guilt disguised as handwriting. You tear it in half. Then you decide to visit the one person in this city who ever told you to fight back, Grace, your old co-worker from the marketing firm. The one who watched you cry in the supply closet after your mom humiliated you at that company dinner. She's blunt, fierce, and allergic to manipulation. Grace lives 2 subway stops away. She opens the door with a messy bun and a coffee mug that says no free rides. "You look like hell," she says. "Family reunion," you answer. "That bad? They kicked me out of the wedding, and now they're trying to use my apartment for it." She whistles. "That's next level psychotic." You nod, tired. "I have proof. Audio, messages, everything." Grace's eyes narrow with admiration. "Good. Now you don't need tears, you need a plan." You sit together at her kitchen table, laptop open. Grace helps you draft an email to your building manager. Unauthorized guests attempting access, please document. Then another one, to a lawyer she knows from her college circle. Question about property rights and unauthorized use. For the first time, your anger turns into clarity. You start seeing each piece of betrayal as data, something that can be stored, processed, used. By the time you leave her apartment, it's raining. The city smells like asphalt and freedom. You hold your umbrella low, like armor, and your phone tight. A new message lights up the screen. Mom, we just need to use your place for one night. Be mature. You reply. Unauthorized entry will be documented. You hit send. Half an hour later, your phone pings again. Not a text this time, but a motion alert from the Smart Lock app. 11:58 a.m. Door tampered. Your pulse spikes. You open the live feed. There they are, your mother and Aunt Linda again. She's holding a ring of keys. The spare set. The one you gave her years ago. For emergencies. You watch as she slides a key into the lock and turns it. Red light. Denied. She tries another key. Denied. She curses under her breath. Elise stands beside her, whispering something you can't hear. Then your mother looks straight at the camera, unaware it's watching. Her lips move slowly. She'll learn her place. You hit record. Your stomach twists, but not with fear anymore. It's something sharper, cleaner, a new emotion growing roots inside you. Justice. When they finally give up and walk away, you exhale. You know what you have to do next. You're done being their background character. You open your laptop and create a folder on your desktop titled Operation Wedding Crash. You drag the video feed into it, then the audio file, then the chat screenshots. Every insult, every betrayal, every tiny piece of evidence that proves what they did. You stare at the screen, your reflection faint in the black frame. The woman looking back isn't scared anymore. She's plotting. Tomorrow they'll gather in white dresses and polished shoes, believing you're licking your wounds somewhere far away. But you'll be right here, calm, quiet, and armed with the truth. And this time, when they call you dramatic, it'll be because you stole the entire show. The morning after they tried to break into your apartment, something inside you changes. Not gently, not slowly, violently, like a switch flipping in your chest. You used to tremble when your mother raised her voice. Now, it's her silence that fuels you. You wake up early, eyes burning but sharp. The evidence folder on your laptop is open from last night, the recording of her whispering. She'll learn her place. Still loops in your head like poison replayed on vinyl. Only now, you're immune to it. You've built an antidote called fury. You grab your coffee mug, but your hand doesn't shake this time. You sip it slowly, deliberately, like a ritual of control. You know what you have to do. Stop hiding and start collecting every shred of proof they didn't think you'd ever use. You start small. You pull up the building's online portal and request the security log for your smart lock. 2 failed entry attempts. Time-stamped. 1 minute apart. Perfect. You download the report. Then, you email building management. For your records, unauthorized access attempts by known individuals. Please preserve footage from 11:58 a.m. You attach the video. The email feels like your first punch. Your next step? Call the lawyer Grace mentioned. Her name is Cynthia Ortega, mid-30s, sharp voice, sharper mind. She answers after the second ring. Cynthia Ortega Law, she says. Hi, my name's Ava Bennett. I think my family's trying to illegally use my apartment. Oh, there's a pause. Then, calm professionalism. Tell me everything. You do. You start from the group chat, the recording, the break-in. Cynthia doesn't interrupt, just types. The clacking of her keyboard becomes your metronome. When you finish, she exhales. First, change all your locks, physical and digital. You did? Good. Second, you're within your rights to issue a written cease and desist order. I can help you draft it today. You blink. A cease and desist? For my mom? For anyone who crosses your legal boundaries, she says. Family or not. For the first time, the law sounds like armor instead of threat. After the call, you feel lighter, not because the problem's solved, but because it finally has a name. Trespass. You're not dramatic. You're right. At noon, another motion alert pings. This time, you expect it. You open the feed. Aunt Linda again, trying your doorknob. Then she knocks softly. Ava, honey, we just need to drop a few decorations off for the wedding. Don't be stubborn. You stay still. You want to scream, but you remember Cynthia's words. Let them dig their own hole. So, you record. Later, you download the footage and smile. Their arrogance is evidence. But that night, something else hits you harder. You're scrolling social media when a post catches your eye. Your cousin Elise's bridal prep vlog. She's standing in your apartment. The couch, the window view, the cactus in the corner, you recognize it all. Your stomach drops. The caption reads, "Big day tomorrow. So grateful to my family for letting us use Ava's space." 20,000 likes. Hundreds of comments calling it such a sweet gesture. Your hands go cold. They broke in. Again. You replay the video, eyes sharp. Every frame is a crime scene. You see the keychain, your mother's ring of spare keys, glittering in Elise's hand. You pause the video, screenshot the frame. Then another. Then another. Evidence. 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 You message Grace. "You were right. They broke in again. Posted it publicly." Grace replies instantly. "Perfect. Now they've documented it for you." You almost laugh through the anger. She's right. You open your laptop, find Cynthia's email draft titled, "Cease and desist notice." You tweak the language, tightening it like a blade. Unauthorized entry, property misuse, and online publication without consent are criminal offenses. Cease all activity immediately. You send copies to every single person in that group chat: Mom, Aunt Linda, Elise. No emotion, no apology, just law. 15 minutes later, your phone explodes with messages. Mom, Ava, what are you doing? Aunt Linda, this is embarrassing. Take it back. Elise, you're insane. I'm blocking you. Oh, what? You don't respond. You just turn off your phone, open the window, and let the city noise swallow their voices. For the first time in your life, you feel something you've never felt in their presence: power. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady and quiet. As the night deepens, you walk through your apartment, checking every room. You light a single candle on the table, your grandmother's old lavender one. It smells like peace and defiance. You whisper to the empty room. "You called me dramatic? Wait until you see Act 2. You laugh softly, surprising even yourself. Then you grab your phone again, scroll to the live camera feed, and there she is, your mother, standing outside your door, alone. Face pale in the hallway light. She knocks once. "Ava, please, open the door. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Her voice trembles. It almost breaks you. Almost. But you remember every word of that recording. She always folds. End of chapter. Not this time. You stay silent until her footsteps fade. Then, you press save on the camera footage proof of her visit and whisper to yourself, "That's the last time I let you in." You crawl into bed, exhausted but steady. The walls hum quietly, not with fear anymore, but with something else: momentum. The kind that starts revolutions. Tomorrow, you'll meet Cynthia in person. You'll hand over the video, the screenshots, the timestamps. You'll build a wall of truth so high they'll never climb over it again. And as you drift toward sleep, you see it clearly: the wedding, the smiles, the perfect family picture you've been erased from. You imagine yourself there not as a guest, but as the storm rolling in from the edge of the frame. Because every family needs a little drama. They just never expected the kind that fights back. You don't sleep much after that night. Not because you're scared, but because your brain has turned into a storm of precision. You've stopped crying, you've stopped trembling, you've started studying. Morning sunlight spills over your kitchen table, cluttered with coffee cups, legal pads, and a laptop glowing with tabs labeled property rights, unauthorized access laws, digital evidence in civil cases. You scroll through each page like a surgeon dissecting what once terrified you. Every word: ownership, trespass, intent, feels like armor being forged around your ribs. You used to believe power belonged to whoever spoke loudest in the room. Your mother proved that every holiday dinner. But now you see it. Real power belongs to whoever knows the law. You glance at the clock, 8:47 a.m. You've got an appointment downtown with Cynthia Ortega, the lawyer who'd told you to stand your ground. You dress differently this time. Not soft. Not apologetic. A black blazer, clean jeans, and the kind of expression that says, "Try me." On the train ride, the city blurs outside the window. Your reflection looks strange to you, familiar eyes, but sharper. The version of yourself your family never met, the one they raised you to suppress. Cynthia's office isn't fancy, one of those narrow downtown spaces stacked with books, coffee cups, and the faint hum of printers. She greets you with a firm handshake and eyes that see through everything. "You brought the evidence?" she asks. "All of it." You place your folder on her desk. Screenshots, audio files, and printed timestamps from the smart lock. She flips through the pages, nodding occasionally. "You documented everything perfectly. Honestly, you'd make a great paralegal." You smirk. "Guess I'm learning fast." She looks up. "Good, because people like your family rely on you staying ignorant." Her words cut, but they also heal something raw in you. You've spent years being told you were emotional, unstable, incapable of rational thought. Yet here you are, sitting across from a woman who treats your fury like a case study in justice. Cynthia explains the next steps. A cease and desist letter drafted with official language, citing property statutes and privacy violations. She'll send it to your mother and aunt by certified mail, traceable, undeniable. Once they receive it, she says, they can't claim confusion. Every move after that becomes intent. Intent? That's the word you love most. It makes their cruelty sound exactly what it is, a choice. You leave the office with a folder full of paperwork and a spine made of steel. Outside, the wind hits your face, crisp and alive. You're not just reacting anymore. You're strategizing. You head straight to the hardware store. The man behind the counter greets you politely. "Looking for something specific?" "Security cameras," you answer. "Discreet ones." He nods, points to a shelf. You pick out 2. Wireless, motion activated, legal to install inside your own property. Cynthia's voice echoes in your mind. "Document, don't dramatize." Back home, you mount one above the entryway, another facing the living room. The beeping confirmation feels like applause. This is your fortress now. As you finish, a notification pops up on your phone, an email from Elise. "You've really embarrassed us. I hope you're happy ruining the weekend. Everyone's talking about you. Mom's crying. You're out of control." You almost delete it, but something stops you. Instead, you drag it into your evidence folder. Proof, again, of their weapon guilt disguised as love. Later that night, Grace stops by with takeout and a grin. "So, Officer Ava, how's Operation Justice?" You laugh. "In motion. My lawyer's sending the letter tomorrow." Grace raises a brow. "And your mom?" You pause. She's about to learn I'm not her scapegoat anymore. You eat quietly for a while, until Grace leans back. "You know, you don't have to keep proving you're sane to crazy people." That line hits harder than you expect. For years, you tried to earn their approval like it was oxygen. You realize now they'd never let you breathe freely anyway. When Grace leaves, you open your laptop again. Cynthia's email is waiting. "Letter filed. They'll receive it by Monday. Keep calm. Don't engage further. Let the paper do the talking." You stare at the words for a long time. Let the paper do the talking. For once, you don't have to scream to be heard. The truth is speaking for you in black ink and federal stamps. You step onto your balcony, watching the lights of the city blink below. Somewhere out there, they're probably toasting champagne, rehearsing speeches about family unity, pretending they didn't just betray their own blood. Let them. Their peace is built on your silence. And that silence is ending soon. You whisper to the wind. "You thought I'd fold, but I'm learning the rules now." Inside, your phone buzzes again, another motion alert from your camera. You open the feed, expecting to see nothing. But there she is, your mother, standing at your door, envelope in hand. She slips something under the crack and leaves. You wait until she's gone before opening it. Inside, a handwritten note. "Ava, don't involve outsiders. Family matters should stay private. Take back whatever you sent. Let's talk like adults." Underneath, a small key taped to the paper your spare. You smile. They don't even realize they're giving you evidence again. You photograph the letter, store it, then toss it into the trash. The phone chimes once more. A message from Cynthia. "Good work. From now on, everything goes through me. No direct contact." You reply, "Understood." It's late now, but you don't feel tired. You feel awake. Awake in a way you've never been before. The fear that used to own you has turned into clarity. And clarity, you realize, is power. Tomorrow, they'll try to spin their story again to play the victims, to call you dramatic. But by then, the law will already have your back. And when that certified letter lands in their hands, the words will sting sharper than any argument you've ever lost. Because this time, you're not fighting for attention. You're fighting for your name. And you plan to win. By Monday morning, the letter has been delivered. The certified tracking ping feels like thunder inside your pocket, confirmation that the storm has officially begun. You sit at your kitchen table, coffee gone cold, phone vibrating with messages you refuse to read. They can call you ungrateful, dramatic, delusional, all the old words, but this time, their words can't reach you through paper and ink. You check your email. A new notification blinks from Cynthia. Subject: follow-up, possible forgery. Ava, review the attached image carefully. Something about your mother's authorization form seems off. We might be looking at a falsified signature. Your fingers freeze midair. You open the file. It's a scanned document labeled Property Access Agreement, dated 2 weeks ago, right before the wedding chaos began. Your name appears at the top, neat and centered. At the bottom, your supposed signature. Except, you know your handwriting. This one is too perfect, too practiced, too steady. You zoom in. The loop on the A doesn't connect the way you write it. The tail of the Bennett slants upward when yours always drops. You whisper, "They forged it." The realization hits you like an earthquake under your ribs. All this time, they weren't just trying to use you, they were trying to erase your ownership completely. You open your laptop, pull up the audio file again, scanning for anything you might have missed. And there it is, hidden between laughter and clinking glasses, your aunt's voice saying, "I've got the paperwork handled. Once it's in her name, we'll list it fast. She won't even notice until after the wedding." Your blood runs cold. This isn't family tension. It's theft. You pace the room, phone pressed against your chest. You think about calling your mother, demanding answers, but then you remember what Cynthia said. No direct contact. Let them show their intent. So instead, you document everything. You download the PDF, attach the time-stamped email, and take screenshots of your real signature from past leases for comparison. The evidence folder grows heavier, like a heartbeat you can finally hear clearly. By noon, you're in Cynthia's office again, sliding the forged document across her desk. She studies it, nodding slowly. They used a template signature, probably traced from one of your old forms. You ask, "Can we prove it?" She smiles faintly. "Oh, we can do better than that. We can expose it." She calls a handwriting analyst. She knows a retired FBI consultant who owes her a favor. They agree to examine the document that afternoon. You sit through the meeting, hands clasped, as the analyst overlays your genuine signature with the fake. The mismatch is undeniable. Cynthia leans back in her chair, tapping her pen. This isn't just family drama anymore. This is fraudulent authorization. We can file a restraining injunction by Friday. You inhale sharply. Against my own mother? Cynthia looks at you steadily. Against whoever thought they could steal from you and hide behind family ties. The word steal lands hard, because that's exactly what it is, stealing your peace, your space, your name. As you leave the office, rain starts to fall again, soft and relentless. You walk slowly, letting each drop wash away another piece of the person you used to be, the one who apologized for existing too loudly. When you reach home, a delivery box waits outside your door. You almost ignore it, but curiosity wins. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, lies your grandmother's old jewelry box, the one she promised you before she passed. A note sits on top, in your mother's handwriting. "Since you're being so difficult, keep this. Maybe it'll remind you where you came from." You open it. Inside, tucked beneath the tarnished bracelets, is something else, another folded document. This one dated months ago. You unfold it carefully. A will. Your grandmother's handwriting fills the page, wobbly but clear. The apartment belongs solely to Ava. She has earned it through her perseverance and kindness. Your throat tightens. Your grandmother saw this coming. She left you armor before you even knew you'd need it. You scan the document, upload it immediately to your evidence folder, and sit there, shaking not from fear this time, but from the surreal weight of truth. The one person who loved you without condition has just risen from the grave to defend you. That night, your phone rings. Mom. You let it buzz until voicemail picks up. Then you press play. Her voice is small, tired. "Ava, please, stop this. You don't understand what you're doing. It's just property. We're family. Don't make this ugly." You close your eyes. The guilt tries to creep in like an old friend, but you shut the door on it. You whisper to the darkness, "You already made it ugly when you signed my name." You forward the voicemail to Cynthia with a single note. Add this to the case. Later, you sit by the window, the will open beside your laptop. You trace your grandmother's signature, steady and kind, like she's still whispering, "Stand tall, baby girl." You glance at the cactus again. It's growing new buds under the window light. It shouldn't be thriving after everything, but it is. So are you. You lean back, exhaling slowly. You realize revenge isn't always fire. Sometimes it's quiet paperwork, sealed envelopes, and signatures that burn cleaner than flames. Tomorrow, your family will receive a legal notice not from Ava the dramatic daughter, but from Ava Bennett, legal owner and plaintiff. The world's about to learn the difference. You wake up with the taste of ledger paper in your mouth, dry, metallic, like a promise. The folder on your desk no longer feels like a collection of hurts. It feels like a legal brief. Everything you've gathered, screenshots, audio, the forged authorization, your grandmother's will, security logs, sits in precise piles, labeled and time-stamped. You sort them like a surgeon, each movement steady and purposeful. Today is about refinement. You meet Cynthia at 9. Her office lights burn already when you arrive. Morning coffee, a stack of case files, and that calm, tactical air she carries like armor. She reviews everything one more time, not in search of emotion but of openings, elements of intent, continuity, and admissibility. "We're not here to shame them," she says, voice flat. "We're here to stop unlawful conduct and get you relief." You like the bluntness. It lines up with your clean hunger for justice. Cynthia files the temporary restraining order first, a paperwork sprint that needs immediate cause. She cites the failed entry attempts, the forged signature, the public social media post showing your apartment in use. The petition is surgical. Request for injunctive relief. Immediate prohibition of unauthorized access or use of your property, preservation of evidence, and a demand that any further contact go through counsel. The clerk accepts the packet. You sign the oath in a trembling hand that steadies as you press the pen down. The judge is likely to grant ex parte relief on the face of such documentation. You feel the floor of your life shift. Legal gravity is pulling things into order. Next, you and Cynthia draft a second weapon, a preservation letter to the wedding venue and to any third parties involved: hotel staff, the venue's event coordinator, and the bridal party's transportation service. If they let the event continue on disputed property, the venue could face liability. A legally couched advisory about potential litigation often spooks people into caution. Cynthia smiles a little when you suggest adding the word immediate. "Good," she says. Panic is useful when packaged legally. You call the venue yourself. You're careful and measured on the phone, who you are, your status as owner, and your counsel's contact. You don't accuse. You state facts and request confirmation that no use of the property will be permitted without express written authorization. You sense the shift on the other end. The receptionist checks a calendar, the event manager answers, and suddenly a previously confident voice quiets down. "We'll review and let you know," they say. It's thin, but it's a crack. Cynthia arranges for a private investigator to run a background on the chain that led to the forged signature emails, document versions, file metadata. When the investigator calls later, he's clinical. "We can get the metadata for that scanned PDF. Whoever handled it likely saved it from a template. There should be a trail." You feel relief like warm water. Trails mean footprints. Footprints mean culpability. Then you map out the narrative you will present in court. It must be calm, irrefutable, chronological. No hyperbole. No screaming letters. You rehearse the facts in your head: how your mother joked about using your apartment, how your aunt arranged keys, the time-stamped failed entries, the vlog that put your home online. You practice phrases that feel unfamiliar in your mouth but fierce in the silence. "I am the legal owner. I did not authorize this. These actions constitute trespass and fraud." Saying them aloud makes you feel unexpectedly sovereign. You ask Cynthia about the media. "We don't want spotlight for the sake of spectacle," she says. "But if they try to gaslight you publicly, the record is our defense." You agree. A short press statement, fact-based, controlled, will be ready if they spin the story. You do not want pity. You want accountability. Back home, you install the final pieces of your defense. Tamper-proof tags on your front door, a visible notice framed and taped next to the entrance, private residence, unauthorized access prohibited. Video and logs maintained. You post copies of the cease and desist in the family group chat through Cynthia's email so they can't claim never seeing it. The read receipts populate the list like little victories. At midday, the temporary restraining order returns signed. The judge's stamp looks small on the heavy paper, but it echoes loud in your chest. The order bars your mother, aunt, cousin, and any agents from entering, using, or advertising the property, and mandates preservation of any evidence. The venue is now on formal notice. You breathe as if you've been given an inhaler after months of breath held too tight. But law is slow hairline stress procedural, exacting. You need a practical layer on top. Cynthia suggests a trap. Let them believe they can still host the bridal prep 2 doors down or at some neutral location, but make sure their vendors and the venue have been prepped to require proof of authorization. It's a soft sting that will humiliate them quietly in front of their peers without you ever being the one to shout. You like the idea. Humiliation delivered by bureaucracy tastes different. You think about your grandmother's will, the brass key she left you, the cactus that survived against odds. Those relics are small monuments to endurance. You call Grace and ask her to sit with you at the venue the day before the wedding, not to interrupt, but to observe and be ready. Grace's presence is a kind of moral muscle. She agrees without question. Before evening, Cynthia emails a subpoena request for metadata from the cloud service where the forged PDF was uploaded. If the server logs show who uploaded or downloaded the file, you might trace it directly back to a device owned by your mother or aunt. You imagine the moment, a slick corporate report landing on the judge's desk showing file origin and user ID. The thought thrills you with a cold, righteous joy. Evidence doesn't shout, it proves. Your phone vibrates. A message from mom reads, terse, "This is ugly. Drop it. For family." You imagine her muttered justification, "We had to do it for Elise," but the legal order already makes that excuse irrelevant. Family is not a defense to fraud. You compose a reply with Cynthia's guidance. Short, factual, and routed through counsel. You forward the message to Cynthia, who prints it and slides it into the case binder. Small moments of cruelty become, one by one, papered and filed. Night comes. You sit in your living room, light low. The security feed blinks quietly on the laptop. The pile of evidence is like armor stacked by the door, heavy, dependable. For the first time in months, you sleep without waking in the middle of the night, replaying the worst lines of shared whispers. You sleep in a way that's edged by purpose. Tomorrow is the day Cynthia will move to convert the temporary order into a longer injunction if needed. The legal gears are engaged. The trap is set. You did not want this war. But you also don't want to wake up erased. You reach for your grandmother's music box, wind it once. The tiny ballerina spins out one clear note. It's a lullaby, a bell, a signal. You whisper to the empty room. This ends the way truth must slow, stubborn, and undeniable. Then you stand and lock the door behind you, not because you are afraid, but because you finally know how to keep a boundary, and how to make the world respect it. The night before the wedding feels like a storm waiting at the edge of your door. Rain brushes the glass, and for a second, you think it's applause from the universe, soft, cold, and overdue. You sit in the half-light of your apartment, surrounded by evidence folders, printed screenshots, and copies of legal documents that look sterile but hum with emotion. Every paper here holds a piece of your humiliation, but tonight, it no longer stings. It glows. Proof has a strange warmth to it. Your laptop pings Cynthia's message. Venue and event management acknowledged receipt of our notice. They've suspended all access tied to your mother's name pending legal verification. If they attempt to enter, staff are instructed to call security. You exhale. For the first time, they'll face the word consequence instead of control. Still, you're not celebrating. Not yet. You've seen how they twist reality. You can already imagine the scene tomorrow. The pastel gowns, the smiling photos, your mother whispering, "She's jealous, poor thing." You picture the guests laughing, sipping champagne, believing the version of you they created until the truth arrives. Because you've decided, you'll be there. Not to cause a scene, but to witness one. Morning breaks sharp and colorless. You dress in muted tones, gray coat, black heels, hair tied back. You look calm enough to pass for invisible. But your eyes are war. You meet Grace at the corner cafe near the venue. She's sipping coffee, scrolling her phone, already smirking when she sees you. "You ready?" "As I'll ever be," you answer. She hands you a small USB stick. Backup copies of every file, just in case anyone accidentally deletes something. You laugh softly. You think of everything. That's because I've been underestimated too, she says, then squeezes your hand. Time to rewrite the script. The wedding venue glitters like money and denial. Crystal chandeliers, white roses, the smell of privilege pretending to be purity. You walk in unnoticed, staff mistake you for a planner. The irony almost makes you smile. In the lobby, you spot them. Your mother, Aunt Linda, Elise, the trinity of betrayal hovering near the reception desk, arguing quietly. You move closer. Just enough to hear. We've used this venue for years, Aunt Linda says, voice tight. You can't just revoke our room access. The manager's polite but firm. Ma'am, the property listed as prep space is under injunction. We've been advised to comply with the court order. Your cousin's jaw drops. Court order? For what? Unauthorized use of private property, the manager answers, tone professional. Your mother's cheeks flush scarlet. This is ridiculous. My daughter wouldn't do that. The manager flips a page on his clipboard. It's signed by the court, ma'am. Silence. Then Elise hisses, What the hell did you do? Your mother doesn't answer. Her eyes dart searching the lobby, the corners, the air itself as if she feels your presence. She's right. You're there, watching. You stand by a marble column, phone recording quietly. The footage isn't dramatic. No shouting, no slaps, but it's heavy. A dynasty of manipulation collapsing under paperwork and truth. Then Grace texts you. Manager just confirmed the police liaison is on standby in case they try to force access. You're covered. You step outside, the cold air slicing your nerves awake. You don't want to ruin a wedding. You just want them to stop using love as a weapon. But you can feel the weight of generations pressing on your shoulders, every daughter told to be quiet, every woman called too much for demanding respect. You're not just fighting for your apartment anymore. You're fighting for every version of yourself they tried to shrink. An hour later, the chaos begins. A bridesmaid bursts through the glass doors, hair half curled, shouting, We can't get into the suite. All the dresses are locked inside. Your aunt snaps. Call Ava. She must have changed the code again. Your mother snarls. No, she wouldn't dare. But her voice cracks on the word wouldn't. You open your phone, scrolling to your camera feed. You see them pounding at your door, red-faced and desperate. The footage captures every second. You forward it to Cynthia, who replies with a single line. Perfect. They just violated the temporary injunction. Case strengthened. You lean against a lamppost outside the venue, watching everything unravel quietly. The morning sun catches the edge of your reflection in a car window. You look calm, but your pulse is drumming in triumph. Then, your phone rings. Private number. You answer. Why are you doing this? Your mother's voice shakes. You pause. Why did you forge my signature? It was just paperwork. You don't understand. Elise needed help. So you helped her steal from me? She exhales sharply, all control gone. You've always made things difficult. If you just stayed quiet. You cut her off. Quiet is what you taught me to be, but silence doesn't protect victims, it protects thieves. You hang up. The wind carries her silence like an echo of everything she's lost, the ability to scare you. Inside, Grace waves from the doorway. It's done. They've called off the hotel suite. Venue staff removed your name from all access lists. They're scrambling for a replacement location. You nod slowly. Let them. I don't want revenge. I want consequence. Grace grins. That's the best kind. As you walk away from the chaos, you pass a line of guests arriving in pastel and perfume. They smile politely, oblivious. You keep walking, heels clicking like a countdown. You don't need to crash the wedding. The truth already did. At home, you pour a glass of wine, watching your security feed one last time. The sight of them standing outside your door, furious, powerless, feels almost poetic. You whisper, You locked me out of your love. I locked you out of my life. Tomorrow, they'll face the legal aftermath. But tonight, you let yourself rest. You earned it. The courthouse smells like metal and paper, sterile, timeless, unforgiving. You stand outside courtroom 4B, holding a folder that has become your shield. Inside it, your grandmother's will, the forged signature, the group chat screenshots, and the video of your family pounding on your door like debt collectors of your own peace. Cynthia arrives, calm as ever. Briefcase in one hand, coffee in the other. You ready? She asks. You nod. ready to be heard. She smiles. Then let's make sure they finally listen. Inside, the air buzzes with whispers. Your family sits across the aisle, your mother in pearls that no longer shine, Aunt Linda clutching her purse like it can still buy her control, and Elise, pale, eyes darting anywhere but toward you. You don't feel hate anymore, just distance, like you're watching them through glass. The judge, a woman in her 60s with kind eyes and a spine of steel, takes her seat. Case 4129, Bennett versus Bennett et al. The words echo, cold and final. Your last name sounds heavier when it's a case title instead of a family. Cynthia stands first, voice steady. Your Honor, we're here on behalf of Miss Ava Bennett, the lawful tenant and property owner, whose rights were violated through unauthorized entry, fraudulent documentation, and attempted property misappropriation by her immediate family. Your mother flinches at the word fraudulent. The judge nods. Proceed. Cynthia cues the first exhibit, the group chat screenshots projected on the courtroom monitor. The messages scroll like a slow betrayal. Mom, she'll make a scene. Aunt Linda, we'll use her apartment, it's practically ours. Elise, change the seating chart, replace her name. The room goes still. The only sound is the soft click of each slide. Your mother whispers something to Aunt Linda, but the judge lifts a hand. Quiet in the gallery. Ooh, next. Cynthia plays the audio clip their voices, familiar and venomous. She'll fold, your mother says in the recording. She always folds. You glance up. For the first time, your mother won't meet your eyes. Then the forged authorization appears on screen beside your authentic signature. Cynthia walks the court through every loop, every mismatched curve. The handwriting analyst testifies. It's a traced copy, Your Honor, digitally modified and printed. Clear signs of forgery. The judge exhales, her gaze heavy. Who submitted this document? Aunt Linda starts to speak, but Elise interrupts, voice trembling. It wasn't supposed to go this far. Cynthia steps forward. Your Honor, far began when they crossed her threshold without consent. The next exhibit plays the video feed of your mother and aunt at your door. The red access denied light flashes with each failed key attempt. Their voices, muffled but audible. She'll learn her place. The phrase lands in the courtroom like a dropped stone. Your heart beats so loudly you almost miss the next moment, the judge's tone shifting from neutral to clipped. This is not a misunderstanding. This is coercion and trespass. When it's your turn to speak, your knees threaten to buckle, but your voice finds its ground. You tell your story not as a victim but as a witness, clear, detailed, unwavering. You describe how they erased you from the wedding, how they turned your home into a prop, how they called you dramatic every time you stood up for yourself. At one point, you look straight at your mother. You raised me to tell the truth, you say quietly. I'm doing that now. She doesn't answer. Her eyes glisten, but no apology comes. You realize, maybe for the first time, that remorse was never her language. The hearing stretches on legal jargon, objections, timestamps, verification. But in your head, time slows. You think about every night you cried believing you were the problem, every time they made you smaller for asking to be respected. And now, your truth is being read into public record. It's immortal. When the judge finally speaks, her tone is deliberate. Given the evidence, I find sufficient cause to uphold the injunction and to grant exclusive possession and legal affirmation of property ownership to Miss Ava Bennett. Further investigation into forgery and fraud will proceed under civil review. She glances at your mother. Family does not excuse misconduct. In fact, it makes it more cruel. The gavel strikes once clean, final, beautiful. You don't cry. You just breathe. Deeply, fully, like you haven't in years. The paper fortress you built wasn't just defense, it was liberation. Cynthia packs up the folders, murmuring, You did it. No, you say. We did. Oh. As you leave the courtroom, your mother rises halfway from her chair. Ava, wait. You stop at the doorway. She looks smaller now, voice brittle. You humiliated us. You turn slowly. No, Mom. You did that yourselves. You walk out into the afternoon sunlight. Grace is waiting outside the courthouse steps, holding coffee and that mischievous smile again. So? She asks. Permanent injunction granted, you say, half laughing, half shaking. Grace whistles. That's my girl. You burned the house, but you rebuilt yourself in the ashes. You look back at the courthouse doors, knowing they'll still be sitting there, your mother, your aunt, your cousin staring at the pieces of their illusion. For the first time, you don't feel guilt. You feel gravity releasing you. You're free. That night, you sit on your balcony, city lights flickering like applause in the distance. The music box plays beside you, the brass key warm in your hand. You whisper to the night, "You called me dramatic, but it was never drama, it was defense." And for once, the world stays quiet long enough to listen. Morning sunlight drips into your apartment, soft and golden, as if the universe itself is apologizing for what it let you endure. The city hums beneath your balcony, alive, indifferent, and finally fair. You're no longer the dramatic daughter. You're the woman who won. The court's decision arrived last night in an official envelope stamped in blue. The ink still smells sharp when you unfold it again. Permanent injunction granted. Exclusive possession confirmed. The words glow like redemption. You read them 3 times, not because you doubt them, but because you never thought you'd see your truth printed and sealed by the law itself. You place the order next to your grandmother's will on the table. Side by side, the justice of the living and the blessing of the dead, 2 signatures that saved you. Then your phone buzzes. A message from Cynthia. Press already picked up the case summary. No names yet, but local outlets are covering it as a landmark domestic property fraud. You'll get requests for interviews. You decide what to say. You smile faintly. Property fraud. What a sterile phrase for something that nearly destroyed your soul. But you're not bitter. You're strategic now. You open your laptop and type a statement. Not for pity, not for fame, but for closure. When truth costs you family, it also buys you freedom. I stood alone not because I wanted to, but because silence would have killed me faster. I hope my story reminds someone. Being called dramatic is often just the world's way of saying you're finally standing up for yourself. You hit post. The statement goes live on a women's advocacy forum and spreads faster than you expect. Messages pour in. Strangers thank you. Some share their own stories. Daughters, sisters, wives, each one echoing your journey in a different voice. You realize this isn't revenge anymore. It's revolution, one truth at a time. Later that afternoon, there's a knock on your door. You check the camera feed first, Cynthia would be proud, and then open it. Your mother stands there. No pearls, no makeup, no control. Just a small woman holding an envelope. "May I come in?" she asks softly. You hesitate, then step aside. Not out of forgiveness, but out of strength. The apartment is quiet. She looks around like she's seeing it for the first time. "It's nice," she whispers. "It's mine," you reply. She nods, eyes glistening. "I know." There's silence, the heavy kind that fills every room you've ever argued in. Then she sets the envelope on your table. "I came to apologize, and to return what's yours." You open it carefully. Inside is the original will, the one they'd hidden, and a handwritten note. "For Ava, I was wrong. Your grandmother loved you more than any of us deserved. I hope you'll let me earn back even a fraction of what I lost." You want to feel relief. You want to cry. But what you feel instead is distance, a respectful gap between 2 people who finally see each other clearly. "I don't hate you," you say, "but I don't owe you peace either." Your mother looks down. "I know." She leaves quietly, and for the first time, you don't chase after her. You let the door click shut like punctuation at the end of a long, painful sentence. That night, Grace comes over with takeout and 2 glasses of wine. She reads your online post and grins. "Look at you, internet's new hero." You laugh. "Hardly. Just a woman with receipts." She raises her glass. "To receipts, then." You clink glasses and laugh until it feels safe again. Grace pulls out her phone, scrolling through comments. "You know what the best part is?" she says. "They called you dramatic, and you turned that into a movement." You pause. Maybe that's the real revenge, thriving so loudly they can't narrate your story anymore. Outside, fireworks bloom in the night sky from some distant celebration. You watch their reflections shimmer in your wine glass, and think this is what rebirth looks like. Quiet, unapologetic, self-made. Days later, a letter arrives from the court clerk. Your family's formal written apology, a required term of the settlement Cynthia negotiated. It's brief, sterile, almost bureaucratic. "We acknowledge the harm caused by our actions and regret any distress inflicted upon Miss Bennett." You should feel triumphant. Instead, you feel done. Like the last page of a story you no longer need to reread. You fold the letter and tuck it away in the same box that holds your grandmother's music box. and the brass key the artifacts of both pain and proof. You whisper to them, "We're safe now." You spend the evening cleaning, every drawer, every corner. Not because it's dirty, but because you want to reclaim the space. You replace the curtains, change the photos on the walls, repaint the doorframe where your aunt's shoe scuffed it. Every stroke of the brush is a reclamation, of peace, of identity, of belonging. When you finish, you light a candle, the lavender one again, and sit by the window. The cactus on the sill has sprouted 2 new buds, tiny and stubborn. You smile. Outside, the city keeps moving. But you've stopped running. You're here, in your own name, your own space, your own power. You think of what your grandmother once said. You don't need a perfect family to be whole, you just need a boundary that holds. You hold your cup, whisper to the night, "I finally built mine." And in that quiet, you feel something you haven't felt in years, peace that doesn't depend on anyone else's permission. It's strange how peace sounds when it finally arrives. No explosions, no applause, just quiet, the kind that feels earned. You wake up on a Sunday with no alarms, no dread, and no messages from people who used to own your emotions. Sunlight spills across your bed, golden and forgiving. You lie there for a while, letting the silence breathe around you. This is what freedom feels like, space that belongs to you. The apartment hums softly, alive again. The walls no longer echo with their laughter or accusations. They hold only your voice now. You stretch, pad barefoot to the kitchen, and pour yourself a cup of coffee. The steam curls up like incense, carrying away the last trace of fear. On the counter lies a small envelope, the last piece of the legal settlement. Inside is a certified bank check. Restitution, damages, closure. You trace your name printed neatly in black ink. Ava Bennett. It doesn't just look like a name anymore. It looks like ownership. You deposit the check that afternoon. Not out of greed, but ceremony. Every cent represents a moment you refused to stay quiet. Every dollar says, "You were right to fight." When you return, you notice the cactus by the window again. It's fully bloomed now, tiny white flowers blooming from a plant that should have withered under all that neglect. You touch one of the petals gently and smile. "We made it," you whisper. Later, you take the bus across town to the community center, where you've been volunteering the past few weeks. Grace convinced you to join a legal awareness program for young women who face domestic or financial manipulation. When you first walked in, you thought you had nothing to offer. Now, as you listen to a girl named Ruby talk about being kicked out of her parents' house for refusing to fund her brother's debts, you realize you have everything to offer: survival, proof, and the language of boundaries. You tell her softly, "They'll call you selfish, dramatic, cruel, but one day, you'll realize they just wanted you quiet so they could stay comfortable." Ruby blinks at you like someone seeing sunlight for the first time. You smile. Don't give them your silence. Give them your success. You spend the rest of the day teaching her how to save screenshots properly, how to file digital evidence, how to protect her accounts. When she leaves, she hugs you tightly. "Thank you," she whispers. You think, if Grandma could see me now. That evening, you take the long way home. The city feels different, not bigger, not smaller, just more honest. Every building, every light post, every stranger on the street reminds you that life keeps moving forward no matter how long you were stuck in the past. When you reach your building, you pause before the door, the same door that once denied entry to people who shared your blood. You touch the brass key around your neck, the one from your grandmother's music box, and smile. You turn the lock, step inside, and feel the weight of history fall off your shoulders. You pour a glass of wine, light the lavender candle, and open your grandmother's letter one more time. The paper is worn, but her words still shine. When they call you difficult, it's because they can't mold you. Stay difficult. You laugh through your tears. The next morning, you record a short video for your online community, the same one that supported you through the case. You sit by the window, natural light soft on your face, and speak from somewhere raw and calm. "I used to believe forgiveness meant letting people back in, but sometimes forgiveness means locking the door and wishing them healing from the other side." The comments flood in within minutes. Hearts, applause, stories. You don't read them all, but one catches your eye. "Because of you, I told my dad I won't co-sign his loan again. It felt terrifying, but it also felt free." You smile. That's it. That's the real ending. Not revenge, not victory. Freedom multiplied. Weeks pass. The city moves from spring to early summer. You spend your mornings writing, your afternoons volunteering, your evenings laughing with Grace on your balcony. You buy yourself small things, fresh curtains, a new journal, a gold bracelet engraved with a single word, boundary. You still get the occasional text from your mother, short, polite, unsure. You answer sometimes, other times you don't. You no longer feel obligated to play the daughter she wanted. You're busy being the woman you became. One night, she messages again. I'm proud of you, truly. You read it twice, then simply type, thank you. No anger, no closure needed. Just truth, clean and simple. You look around your apartment, filled with warmth and light, and realize something powerful. You didn't just win a case, you reclaimed a life. You go to the window and watch the city glow. Somewhere in the hum of traffic and wind, you can almost hear your grandmother's voice, proud and distant. You didn't just survive, Ava, you rose. You lift your glass toward the night sky and whisper, here's to every woman who was told she's too much, may we never shrink again. Epilogue: The Rebirth. Months later, the New Haven Tribune publishes an op-ed titled, The Courage to be Dramatic. It's your story. In your own words, read by thousands. Beneath the headline is your photo confident, calm, eyes unbroken. The final line reads, they erased me from their wedding, but I rewrote myself into my life. You close the paper, lean back, and let that truth sink in. You're no longer the woman begging to be seen. You're the woman who sees herself clearly. And that, finally, is everything.